7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Well, good morning, everybody. This is Ron Wheeler, and I want to welcome you all to our presentation, the 5 keys to generating income with options. Do me a big favor. As you're logging in, as you're opening up the live webinar, do me a favor. Just give me a shout out, give me a like, send me a message, say, hey, Ron, I can hear you. That way I know that everything is broadcasting properly and everything looks good and we are good to go. All right, good deal. Roger and Jay, I see you guys were the first to chime in there. And yeah, I like that, Roger. Snazzy intro music, right? Looks like VectorVest. Well, it doesn't look like it. They absolutely did. They made a nice little introduction for all of our little live sessions that we do. All right, Chandri, welcome to you too. And Mark, good to have you here with us. So good. Looks like we're broadcasting successfully. I can see a bunch of eyes on us right now. That's great. That's what I like to see. And again, I just want to welcome everybody here. We are going to do what I like to call a kind of a brief look at what I call the 5 keys to generating income with options. And Disha Burlington Pilot, welcome to you as well. This is really something that I do primarily in my investing. That's what I do here at VectorVest. I am the manager of options trading, the options income coach, if you will. And I'll give you just a small background of my own personal trading. I've been trading now for, let's see, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So this is my 26th year of being a trader. It's crazy because I'm only 46. I started trading when I was 20 years old. So I've been doing this now for such a long time. And when I first got started in the industry, I was actually a commodities trader. My first trades were on things like corn, and Kansas City wheat was my first trade I ever made. And I really was a day trader and a swing trader of commodities for the first 15 years of my career easily. Well, eventually I decided that I didn't want to do those short-term day trades anymore. I didn't want to sit in front of my screen for 7, 8 hours a day. I didn't want to get up and go to lunch and miss 2 trades and have it screw up my whole day. There comes a time when, you know, in any career, it starts to wane. And that's what happened to me as a day trader. Well, I was introduced to options really early in my trading career, just kind of put it in the background, never really did anything with options. But one of my clients who I actually taught a lot of technical analysis to really revolutionized the way I trade options. And he taught me the idea of being an options seller, putting probability into your trades right from the start. That way, if you think that a market's going to go up, I can place a trade on it that no matter what happens, if it goes up, I make money. Sideways, I can make money. Down, I still have the opportunity to make money. And that really revolutionized the way that I thought about options. And I slowly started to add more options trades into my trading. I started with some commodity options first, transitioned into the SPX because I traded a lot of S&P futures. And eventually over the years, I started leaning away towards that day trading, and I started focusing more on these options trades that I was doing. And I don't even want to say short-term options trades because these trades typically are 7 to 10 day long trades. So I can bring my trading down to only a couple hours a week. And once I was able to reproduce the income or the profits I was making as a day trader, as an options trader, that's when I fully went towards the options side of the business. And I've been doing that really ever since. So welcome again to you all. I just wanted to give you a little quick background about who I am and what I do. Again, I'm the manager of options trading here at VectorVest, and it's my job to really come up with options curriculum, teach people how to use options, and most importantly, what I do is help people what I call generate income with options. And if you think about what income is basically a paycheck. Income is supposed to be a high percentage thing, right? Think about Social Security and take all the political stuff out of it, right? If you take Social Security, you get a check every month. The government sends it, you get it, it's income. Your paycheck at work, end of the week, end of the half, whatever, however you get paid, you get a paycheck. Income is supposed to be something that you get with a high degree of success and accuracy. That's what I'm trying to bring to the table here with options income, creating a trading scenario where we can have repeat success and an income-based approach to it. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump into this thing. Let's get started. And what we'll do here, if you have any questions along the way, please let me know. I've got staff with me here that are going to be glad to help out with questions. And again, we'll just kind of go through it. So With that in mind, why is this so important? Why is generating income with options important? Well, this is why. This was my 2022 results. Now, this particular account was about $75,000 in total value. This is a mix of S&P 500 trading and stock trading. Now, a couple things about last year. My win rate last year was absolutely terrible. That was the worst win rate that I've had in a very long time, 57%. But it is what it is. Sometimes you get good win rates, sometimes you get a little bit lower. My win rate of 57% last year was about the lowest I've had in a while. My average winner was about $800 per trade. My average loser, $676. So one of the things I do with options income is I don't try to get my students into these high risk trades. You're going to win 95% of the time. And when you win, you're going to make $10. And when you lose, you're going to lose 10,000. No, I don't do trades that way. That's not a good way to make money. And then most importantly, you can see down below my month by month numbers. So out of 12 months last year, I made money in 8 out of 12 months. That's consistency. I had some drawdown in April, some drawdown in July, a little bit of drawdown in October, November. I finished the year out with a $1,600 gain that month. And again, this was done with about a $75,000 account. So about $28,000 in total income trading that I did last year. Now, that doesn't reflect every amount of money I made with options. I actually did about 45,000, I think it was, in options success last year. But what I did is I broke it down just into my income trades that I'm going to share with you today. Okay. All right. Again, my name is Ron Wheeler. I'm the manager of options trading. You can kind of see that's the same looking guy as me, although I was better dressed than I was wearing a suit and a tie. But that's me. I've been at VectorVest now since 2015. So this is my 8th year here at the company. And I've been my entire professional life, except for like the first year, I've been in trading. I actually have an IT degree, and my first year as a professional, if you will, I did IT. I was a Novell network administrator. And then a friend of mine got me into the trading industry via IT work. And I just transitioned, and I've been a trading guy ever since. So I've been doing this now for a very, very long time. All right. So again, back to the whole 5 keys to generating income with options. Now, also, I really want you to stick to the end for your chance to win a $1,000 option course. So keep to all the way to the end. Presentation usually lasts about 40 minutes or so, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little shorter, depending on questions. But stick to the end. We're going to raffle off one of our options courses. All right. I want some feedback from you first. First and foremost, what one word describes how you feel about options? So I want you to share with me in the chat, in the comments, what one word describes how you feel about options? All right. So keep those comments coming. All right, I'm trying to move my screen around a little bit here so I can get to the things. All right, oops. I can't, I'll have to ask, to share some comments, I'll have to ask my my co-presenters here, because for some reason I can't. Oh, there we go. All right, so we've got, making money, we got fun, we've got risk. I like this one, Mug. Carrie, you mentioned lost, unsure. At the end of the day, listen, can be risky. I understand all of that, because that's kind of what I felt about options in the beginning too, right? Ultimately, options can be very, very scary. I get that. However, even my first options experience, I will tell you, were a disaster. And I tell you about that because I want you to understand I relate to it. When I first started trading options, I picked the market direction right, but my options trades still lost money. There's nothing worse than that. Picking market direction or stock direction or any direction is tough enough as it is. But when you do it right, and the tool that you use to create your trade causes you a loss, that's frustrating. Now, options shouldn't be scary. They shouldn't be risky. In fact, options were created as a risk tool to make risk less. So if we're thinking they're too risky, we're doing something wrong. And again, I relate to that. I get it because that was my first introduction to options. It was scary. But the cool thing is about options, once you learn how to do them right, they are a fantastic way to make money. They really, really are. And again, this to me goes back to, and I'm going to flip it back to my trade results. You know, done right, you should not be risking much more, or you should not be risking more than you're winning. That should come out perfect if you're doing this right. Okay. And then Jay, I wanted to comment your comment too. Volatility in the whipsaw has been brutal. Julie, complex. Ray, you mentioned very volatile. Yeah, they've been a little bit more volatile lately for sure. Absolutely, they have. All right. Now, let's kind of jump forward here. And again, we're going to talk today about the 5 keys to generating income. And I already kind of mentioned softly the first one. If you want to have more winners than losers, if you want to create income, and to me, income just means you're going to make money more than you're going to lose. And it's not about picking the right stock. It's not about finding the perfect indicator. It's all about how you structure your trades. Now, if you want to do that, you have to be an option seller and not a buyer. So let's take a look at this. I want to give you kind of a basic options overview here. There are 3 main parts of options to talk about. Okay, options aren't that hard, but there's a couple different moving parts here. There's the expiration. There's something called a strike price, and then there's a premium. Now, as an options trader, you can buy options, or you can sell, or what people say is writing an option. Because when you sell an option, people always say, how can you sell something you don't own? Whatever. But selling an option in our case is actually what's called writing an option. When you sell it to somebody, you are writing a contract that says, I will do this if you want me to. Okay? Now, as an option buyer, expiration actually works against you. That means when you go out there and buy an option, you buy a call if you think a stock will go up, you buy a put if you think a stock will go down. However, you have to pick an expiration date. And it just might be easy to go out there and say, I'll buy an expiration date a year away, so I have lots of time, but they're very expensive. When you buy an option, you have to pick a date. That expiration date works against you because if the stock doesn't go up enough or down enough and that option expires, guess what? You're not going to make any money. Now, the strike price. The strike price is where you have the right to buy or sell stock if you want to. You need to overcome that to make money. So if I go out there and buy 100 shares of XYZ for $100, if the stock goes up $1, I make money. It's easy. With options, you have the premium. So you pay the premium based on the strike price. Now, if I buy an option on a $100 stock, right, and I buy a $105 option, you're not really going to make money until the stock goes up $5 a share. You're putting yourself behind right off the bat. Now, the premium. Let's say you say, okay, Ron, well, let's work around the strike price. Stock's $100. I'm going to buy a $100 option. Okay, great. The premium is $3. You got to pay $3 for that option. Either way, you're not going to make money until you overcome the premium also. So you can't make money on that option unless it goes over $103 a share. Now, as a buyer, all these things kind of work against you, if you will. As a seller, that expiration works for you. We can choose expirations where we have a lot of time decay that's working for us. So as the buyer is sitting there, hoping and praying that the stock goes up enough, we know that probability says that it won't. And every day that option trades, it's losing money. Well, if I sell something for $1,000 and then in 2 days later, it's worth 800, 600, 500, 400, 300, I'm making money. As it gets closer to expiration, that option contract that I sold is losing more and more and more money, right? It's kind of like an insurance company. If I pay car insurance and I pay 6 months at a time, right, what's going to happen? At the end of 5.5 months, the insurance companies will be like sitting there crossing their fingers saying, don't have an accident, don't have an accident. Why? Because they get to keep all the premium and not to pay out anything. Same idea. Strike prices, very easy to avoid. I have a $100 stock. I think it's going to go up. I can choose a $90 option strike that says as long as it doesn't go below 90 bucks, I can make money. Can't do that as an option buyer. And then finally, the premium you actually receive. You get paid to place these trades essentially. Okay. I'm going to write something or sell something for $1,000. I get paid $1,000 up front. Now, that doesn't mean you get paid $1,000 and you walk away. It just means that you get paid to place these trades. It's a nice little bonus here. Okay. Now, for those of you that have traded options before, have you been more of a buyer of options or have you been a seller of options? Okay. And then just real quick, I saw, do you usually sell these options naked? And the answer is no. We always sell with protection. And then follow up, you said buyer. That's cool. I'm a buyer and a seller. I sell a lot more than I buy, but I do both. Okay, Philip, you mentioned being a buyer as well. And again, nothing wrong with that, as long as you do it correctly. But here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. What you want to do if you want to create income, you got to be a seller. If you want to put probability on your side, you got to be an option seller. Okay. And then this one here, Joe's only buyer. I like this one. Buyer. I learned it from you. That's cool. I show how to do it correctly too. And then both. So if you want to create an income approach to this, we're going to be a seller. There's times to buy, don't get me wrong, it's a different idea. But if you want to create income, we have to be a seller. Now, the key takeaway here is this. Being an option seller gives you that high probability for success. You can average between 70 and 90% winning trades. I showed you my results and I said that 57% was abysmal to me. That was really low last year because of the volatility, because of a lot of the movement of the market. I had a very low accuracy. That was kind of a bummer, but I still ended up making over 40% for the year. I think I did pretty well last year, but it did bring my winning trade percentage down. Now, how do you get to this level? We talked about the need to avoid strikes. Okay. And it's kind of funny. I bowl. I'm a bowler. I have league tonight, actually. Tonight's my last week of my my fall spring league. And this is the worst thing for me, is to bowl a gutter ball. But that's essentially what you want to do when you're being an option seller. You want to pick a strike where the market is not likely to go. Okay. That's what we're doing as an option seller. So what a mistake that a lot of options buyers make, and let's talk about this, right? So we talk about selling, we talk about buying. One of the big mistakes that option buyers make, and this mistake is going to lead us to making money as a seller, is they go out there and they choose these unrealistic strikes, right? The market, they think the stock or the market will go up. They think the stock or market will go down. And they choose this strike price that they have to overcome to make money. It's kind of like this guy here, right? Mowing a big field of foot-high grass with a push mower and a mulching blade, probably not going to work very well. Well, why do they buy options if they have such a little chance to work? They do it because they're cheap. Let me give you an example of this. Let's take a look at this stock. This happens to be Lockheed Martin from a while ago, but it doesn't matter when it's from. It could be from 1950, and it makes no difference. Let's assume that you think this stock will go up. At the time I took this screen capture, the stock was $216. So what a lot of options buyers do is they'll look at their option chain and say, okay, I'm going to go up here at $230 and I'm going to sell a call up here or buy an option up here. What's going to ultimately happen is they're going to put themselves in a position to where the stock has to go up to $230 for them to make money. That's a very low probability trade. What we do instead is we facilitate that mistake. I go out there and I sell them that call at $230 a share. Why do I do that? I do that because I know that I have a base 70% chance to make money. They only have a base 30% chance to make money. I am putting the odds of success on my side. Now, it's the same thing in a bearish situation, right? If they think the stock is going to go down, right, they might buy a put. But instead of buying a put at $216 or $215 where you should, and it might cost them $1,000, they go down to like 200 and say, okay, well, I'm just going to buy a put down here. It's only going to cost me $50. And worst case scenario, if I lose, yay, I lose $50. But why would you do that trade if there's only a 30 or 25% chance of making money? Well, a lot of people always have that thing of, well, if you're saying there's a chance, right? Well, yeah, there's a chance. But what's going to end up happening is by the time you make money on that 20 or 30% trade, you're going to lose so many trades that win is not going to pay for those losses. So we sell options where the market is least likely to hit. Now, the cool thing about an option is options have built-in probability. The option itself will tell you what the chances are of the stock hitting that by that certain date. It's beautiful. Now, again, people do this because guess what? They want to get those cheap options where they're hoping for those big returns. And you know what? It doesn't happen. So let me ask you guys a question. Have you ever bought a cheap option hoping for a big money return? Anybody ever do that? All right, there we go. So yes, of course we've all done it. I've done it. It's how I started as an options trader. I did the same basic thing, right? Buying those options that are $1, $1.50, hoping for that, okay, I'm going to turn this into, I'm going to go into this and I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to make $500 on my $10 option. We've all done it. All right. And listen, if you do this every once in a while because you get a hunch, all right, fine. I like to play the lottery occasionally too. Okay. But I always joke with my wife, I'm not going to take my 401k money and put it into the Ohio lottery. Listen, if you want to take a shot on a stock every now and then and buy a cheap out of the money option, listen, I don't have a problem with it. But it's not something that you're going to be able to do to make a consistent income. It's just not feasible. So the takeaway here is simple. We want to be the seller of an option that has a little chance of getting hit. That means this. Stock's at 100. You sell a $120 option. The chance of the stock going to 120 is extremely remote. If it doesn't, you make money. Okay? Now, if you are interested in an action guide for this, so what you can do is go to VectorVest.com/FB1. If you do that, this is what the website will look like, just like this. It says, get your free options paycheck system. It's a 5-step checklist to generate an extra 3% per month safely in options. Click on the download now button and then just give us your name and email address. Say, I want my checklist, and we will send that out to you. It's just a nice little checklist to get you started about things that we're looking for more in detail. So again, that's what the website looks like. Simply click on the download now link, give us your email, and then we'll send that out to you right away. All right. Now, also, this is what happens, by the way. It says your checklist will arrive in about 5 minutes. And another thing I want to talk about is we are going to be doing options, more in-depth courses or classes in the next couple of weeks. If you click on that link where it says, yes, claim my spot now, you're going to be able to get invited to a much more in-depth class about this in the next few weeks. Okay? All right. Now, the next thing is this. Let me turn off my camera for just a second because I want you to be able to read everything. When it comes to options trading, you need to select the expiration sweet spot. And I love this golf analogy, right? If you're a golfer, you know that a driver, any golf club has what's called sweet spot. It's where the CG is optimized. If you hit the ball there, it's going to give you the best impact. It's going to give you the best launch. Everything about the best hit on your golf club, right? Being an options trader is the same way. Now, let's talk about this. Another mistake that options buyers make and how this turns into what we can capitalize on is people buy options that expire way too soon. It's like if you go grocery shopping, right? You get sent out to buy some steaks. You see steaks. You got one steak on the left, it's a filet mignon. It's $5 a pound. Over on the right, you got them for $30 a pound. Why is one $5 and one's $30? Well, then you look closer at that $5 a pound steak and you see that it expires today. That means you got to go home and cook it tonight or it's going to expire. Or if you want to wait for it and cook it later on, it's taking a big risk, right? Because you might get sick. You might get poisoned. Probably won't, but still, it's not the point. It expires right now. It's very, very cheap. And if you can take advantage of that by cooking it that evening, do it. Options are very similar to this. Here's what happens to options as they get closer to expiration. So this is a 180-day look. This over here is 180 days on the left. Let me get my laser pointer out. It's easier for me to point this stuff out. Over here on the left, this is a 180-day to expiration. And then all the way on the right is the day the option expires. Now what happens is you can see how the option slowly starts to decay in price. That means if you buy an option for $5, right, it's going to slowly, even though the market goes sideways, up, down, it doesn't matter. The option is going to lose value every single day that it trades towards expiration. At first, when you're 6-7 months away, it's going to lose its value very, very, very slowly. Then right around 45 days, something happens, and that loss starts to get exponential. Okay? That loss is going to start getting more and more every day. Now, what happens to a lot of option buyers is they like trading in this area right here. They do it because options are inexpensive. But remember, they have to pick a strike price, they have to pick an expiration, and all that stuff is working against them. Now, instead of having 6 months for the stock to go in their direction, now they only have 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the time decay takes anything out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take advantage of what this exponential decay is. We are going to be an option seller in a 21 to 45 day window of expiration. Now, I know someone mentioned earlier about option premium, and option premium is very critical to this, right? People want to ask, well, Ron, if the expiration and the exponential decay is great, why wouldn't you want to sell an option somewhere down here? Well, there's a balance, right? If we sell an option too close to expiration, then there's not going to be any premium. Then you're going to have one of those trades where you might make $10 but lose $500. We can't have that. We want to try to maximize, and that's why we call this the sweet spot. We want to maximize the value of the option, good premium, with expiration and time decay. Too far out, we won't get any time decay. Too close to expiration, we won't get any premium. So we want to balance those two factors. We sell options 21 to 45 days to expiration. Now, for those of you that have done this before, again, share with me in the chat. Have you ever bought an option only to watch it expire worthless? Now, if you've sold an option to watch it expire worthless, well, that's a good thing, right? You did something really, really good. But have you ever bought an option just to simply sit there and watch it expire worthless? Share with me in the chat. All right. So, and of course, getting the answers there, Roy, yes. So absolutely, we've all done that before, okay? And again, a lot of it is, it's just more about not being trained as a proper option buyer. Now, our takeaway here is simply this. Options decay quickly as they get closer and closer to the expiration date. I want you to sell an option that expires in 21 to 45 days. Put that time decay in your favor. Now, I want to remind you again, stick around to the end. There's going to be a drawing for a $1,000 options income course. So stick around to the end. We're going to do a drawing. Now, let me see here. Let's see. Yep, too often. Yes, I kind of missed some of these. Sorry about that. And then, Roy, you asked the perfect question. How about spreads? Great question. That's exactly what we're going to do. We are going to trade spreads. So step number 4 of the 5-step process is you need to set up your insurance policy, because that's what we need to do. Now, earlier someone asked, do I sell options naked? And the answer is no, I don't. Why? Because it's too risky. So we trade with an insurance policy. Now, let me explain how this works, okay? Our paycheck system makes your risk small even before you open the trade. First, we choose stocks that are low risk, okay? We have a specific criteria, but in general, if we're bullish, we start by looking at good stocks that are rising in price, similar to what you see here. I'm not going to try to buy something at a 52-week low. I want to see something that's rising in price. Same if I'm a seller and I think the market's going to go down. I want to look at something that's been going down for a while. Now, instead of selling an option naked, we're going to sell with protection. So let me show you how to do this. Now, a traditional option selling system leaves you with all this risk, right? If I sell an option at 135 and the stock goes to 100, I'm going to lose a ton of money. So I have to shrink my risk to a very, very small amount. So let's look how this works. Again, graph of a typical stock we'd be bullish on. It's a beautiful graph. Now, if you were bullish on this, what would you do? Traditionally, if you buy the stock, you're going to go out there and buy 100 shares or 1,000 shares, however many you want, at the market, $137.57. Okay? However, we're not buyers anymore. Maybe even buy a call. When the market or a stock is bullish, we are going to sell a put. Now, I want you to think about that. If you've traded options before, if you think a stock is going to go down, you buy a put. If you think a stock is going to go up, you sell the put. Okay? Buying a put, bearish. Selling a put, bullish. Why is selling a put bullish? Because when you buy a put, you're betting the market's going to go down. If the market goes up, you lose money. Well, guess who makes money if you buy a put and the market goes up? The person who makes money is the person that sold you the put, because that put's going to expire worthless. So when we're bullish, we sell puts. So what we do is we go underneath the stock. And in this case, it was about 135. Now, why 135? 135 gives us a base 70% chance of success. We also look at some graph rules for this too, but we sell that 135 option. Now, when we sell that put, we're going to get paid. We receive premium. So in this case, let's say we get paid $200 per contract, right? So if I sold 5, I would collect $1,000. If I did 10, I'd collect $2,000. That's great. However, what happens is it leaves you unprotected. When you sell a put, there is a very, very, very small chance that you may be required to buy stock. Now, in 15 plus years of being an option seller, I've never been required to do that because I manage these trades properly. And having a stock trade come from an option trade is very, very rare as a seller. So I've never had it happen to me. But if the stock opens up tomorrow at $100 a share, there is a chance that you may have to buy the stock at $135 and you are going to have a huge loss. We can't do that. That is taking way too much risk. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a built-in protection plan. You're going to take and go a little bit lower and you are going to buy a put. When you buy a put simultaneously as insurance, you've now reduced your risk just to that level right there. This trade now has a $5 a share risk. That's it. You're also hedged pretty well against volatility, and you've locked in a maximum loss at this point. Okay. Now, that insurance policy does have a cost. In this case, let's say it costs $100. All right. You sell a put, you get paid $200. You buy the put as insurance, you have to pay $100. At the end, you get paid $100 to place this trade. If you did it on 10 contracts, you would get paid $1,000. Now, what this trade has done for you is this. If the stock goes up like you think it will, both of those options will start losing value. Your trade that you sold for $1,000 may only be worth $500, $400, $300. And the cool thing is it's a trade. You can enter the trades and exit the trades. I can enter the trade by collecting $1,000. I can exit the trade 5 days later by paying $300 and keeping $700. That's the beauty of these. You get in and out of them just like a stock trade. Okay. Another cool thing, if the stock goes sideways, both of those options are also going to start losing money and you will still be a winner. As long as it stays above 135, you will be a winner as well. And if it goes below 135, you are going to take a small proportional loss. That means we're not staying in these trades until they expire. When we get in these trades, we're going to have a stop in place. If the market goes or the stock goes against us by too far, we're going to exit the trade. If it goes profitable, we're going to exit the trade and take profits. This is essentially a trade. A lot of people don't understand that. Ron, options, I thought you said to keep them until expiration. No, I can buy an option today and sell it tomorrow. I can sell somebody or write somebody a contract today and get it. And then 3 days later, I can put that option back on the market and say, hey, I got this contract. Does anybody want to take it from me? And they will. You can get in and out of these trades at will. What you just saw there is something called a bull put spread. Bull because it's a bullish trade. Put because we're using puts. We're simultaneously selling a put and buying a put. Okay, so bull put spread. Spread because it's two options and there's a $5 difference. That's a $5 spread. So these spreads have a built-in protection plan to help us minimize risk. That is the ultimate goal here. Okay, now I want to do something here. Normally I don't do this kind of stuff, but I do want to show you guys something real quick. I want to show you a spread that I'm in right now. Okay, this is a trade that I'm in right now on the S&P 500. Now, I know that not everybody's going to be able to understand and read a risk graph and all that kind of stuff, but this is a trade where I sold a position and I can collect I've collected $5,400 in premium. That's what this number is over here on the right. Now, I'm not going to look to make $5,400. If I can get out of this trade and make $2,700, I'm a happy camper. Now, what I'm going to do is if I ended up selling a 40-50 put, if the S&P drops below 40-50, now I just want to show you what this looks like on a graph. This is the SPX. That's Budweiser. This is the SPX. Okay, so I sold a 40-50 put. Okay, so I want to show you how one of these trades actually looks in real time. Now, by the way, I did that trade on Monday right here on the 10th. All right. Now, if the stock goes up, well, in this case, it's the S&P 500. If it goes up or sideways or even down, I can collect on this trade and I can make, my goal is to make $2,700. That's what I hope to make on this trade. Now, if the stock goes down, or in this case, the S&P goes down too far and it passes 40-50, I'm going to lose on this case. And you can kind of see it up here in the right hand. See where it says like 9,000? That's not what I'm going to lose. This is what I would lose. I would lose about $2,000. So this trade, okay, has a historic 60% chance of success. I can make $2,700 if I win, and I will lose $2,000 if I lose. Okay? And take a look. This is the buffer I have to be wrong. So I wanted you to look at a current trade and something that I do for real. I mean, this is a real trade that I have on right now. Now, how do we set that trade up? The secret of all that kind of stuff? Well, that's something that we teach in the course, and that's going to be started in that action guide. So speaking of, to get started with that action guide, just go to VectorVest.com/FB1. Remember, it takes you to the website. It looks like this. Click on that little download now, fill in your email, and we will send that checklist out to you in about 5 minutes or so after that. And then right underneath that, we have a class coming up, how to generate 3% per month with one options trade. You can click on Claim My Spot now and pick out a class. We'll send you a recording if you can't make it live, but it's a live class that we're going to be doing here in the next few weeks. All right, now, the last thing I want to talk about, I kind of already gave you a hint of this. You ever hear the expression, half a loaf of bread is better than none at all? Well, basically what it means is if you're starving and somebody gives you a half a loaf of bread, are you going to argue with them and say, hey, Ron, you know, I want the whole loaf, or I'm not taking any of it? No, you're going to take what they give you and you're going to be thankful for it, hopefully. Okay? When we enter these trades, we have a strict guideline of where we exit with profits and where we exit with a loss. Why? Because emotions really hurt your trading results. Have you ever had a trade that went against you because you just felt it had a chance, or you wasn't quite ready, you think the stock needs a little bit more time, it's going to come back. Has your emotions ever hurt your trading results? Now, for those of you that have a trial of VectorVest, those of you that are VectorVest subscribers, by the way, I would encourage you to watch our weekly wrap-ups, our weekly essays by Angela Akers. She's done a great job the last few weeks about talking about this, about how emotions as an early trader affected her, greed and things like that. So it's a very good reading if you guys are VectorVest clients, or maybe you're on a trial. Read that essay that she did last week and read the last few ones. Emotions can hurt your trading results. What we want to do is set aside, okay? We want to set aside a trading plan. We are going to exit these trades for 50% of the credit we received. So if I go back to that trade of the S&P 500, remember how I said I'm hoping to make $2,700? The reason why is because that is half of the $5,400 credit I received, right? When I took this trade, $5,400, divide that by 2, I'm hoping to make $2,700. Well, Ron, why aren't you going to make the whole $5,400? There's a very important reason why I'm not going to try to make the whole $5,400. Numerous back tests, my own industry back tests that other options traders have done, have shown that taking profits anywhere over 50% on these spreads actually leads you to lower profits overall. Now, in a micro sense, I can say, well, Ron, how's that be, right? If I make $5,400 in this trade, then how is that less profits than if you make $2,700? Because here's what happens. By holding on to that trade and trying to make more money, you give the market chances to go against you and lose that money. Take profits as you get them. We take profits at 50% below the price. It's a very, very mechanical process. And again, this is why you saw with my trade results that I was able to do. I think it was like a $700 or almost an $800 average winner and only a $700 average loss. Okay, that's really the beauty of what we did. All right, now again, I want to remind you one more time, if you want to get that 5-step quick guide, go to vectorvest.com/FB1. Okay, so I got an action guide that includes a checklist. It's the perfect companion to what you just learned. It's going to walk you through those key points we're going over and give you a checklist. So just go to that website, get it sent to you, download it, fill in your name and email, and then also while you're there, do me a favor, check in and let us give you a much longer formal presentation on this to show you a little bit more in detail about what we do as options income traders. Okay? All right. And then a real quick question there. Yeah, and we already answered that for you. But Nicole, you would ask, how long does it typically take? On average, about 7 to 10 days. About 7 to 10 days. Okay? All right. Remember, I promised you a raffle at the end of today's live session. So here's what I want you to do. Inside of the comments, I want you to type paycheck without the quote marks. Type paycheck in the comments. I'm going to give you guys about 2 minutes to do that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a random drawing for one of our options classes, our option paycheck it's called, where we're going to teach you the ins and outs of the system, and we'll teach you that S&P 500 trade as well. So type paycheck into the comments. I'll give you guys a few minutes. I've been watching for some questions that my colleagues haven't answered, and they've been doing a great job, and I've been kind of backing them up as we go too. So again, paycheck in the chat window to be entered into the raffle. And then I'll run the raffle here in just a few minutes as you guys type that in there. All right, it's kind of looking back. And then Disha, you'd ask, what about selling weeklies again and again? Hey, I don't have a problem with that as long as you're doing it by the book, 21 to 45 days, giving yourself at least 70% chance of success. If the stock keeps moving, I'm all about it. I have no problem trading weeklies as long as they're within that window. All right, so paycheck, everybody. I see there's a lot more people watching than have typed in paycheck. I'm going to give you guys another 60 seconds to get your paycheck in there. And I'm going to run that raffle. All right, so 11:45 and 35 seconds. So we got about another 55 seconds just for anybody else out there who wants to get into that raffle. I just want to make sure I get everybody and don't leave anybody behind. All right, good deal. Got about 35 more seconds. And then Ray, you said if the SPX sells off below 43, you may trade and lose 20,000. Yeah, I mean, no, realistically, it won't. In order for me to lose $20,000 on that trade, the market would basically have to come all the way down to like 3,800 without me taking any action. So if it goes to 40.30, I would end up losing on that trade, roughly about $3,000. So not too bad. All right, I am going to do the raffle. All right, so here we go, and let's take a look here. I think I got to do this. All right, so there is our raffle running. All right, there you go. There is our winner. Okay, that is our winner for that. So we will be in contact, or we'll give you an email address to email us, but you are going to be entered into our class that starts in May to teach this live. Okay, so that's cool. And then Jay, you mentioned, what if we don't know anything about options? Well, the cool part about this is that I can teach you this from the ground floor. I actually like teaching people that don't have a lot of prior knowledge of options because they start with a blank slate. I don't have to overcome any errors they've made in the past. It's kind of like golf, right? I love playing golf. I wish I could forget everything I know about golf and learn how to golf from scratch, but I can't. I have too many bad habits built into me. So I like working with new options traders. It's a very good way of doing things. All right. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start wrapping things up. If you have any more questions, by all means, please let me know. And then back to that trade real quick on the S&P. I will tell you this, that there are times when the market does gap below where I want to get stopped out. I might lose a little bit more money, but that's a rare circumstance in this case. It's pretty rare. So like I said, if you follow, and I'm going to change this to red, if you follow this dashed line down, give it a second, it's updating. There we go. If you follow that dashed line all the way down, you can kind of see that if I get out of the trade right at 40.50, I'm going to lose that $2,000. Now, if it continues moving lower, you can kind of see how the losses start to mount up. 4,000, 5,000 at 4,005. But you're really not going to lose that big 15,000 number until the market really goes against you. We would have to lose 200-300 points in one day. Now, could that happen? Sure, it could happen. But to get there, it still has to go through that number right there. So the biggest number I think I've ever lost on these is probably about $600 or $700 more than I planned on it. It can happen once or twice a year. It's nothing that I get worked up over, but 95% of these trades exit properly at the loss numbers where they're supposed to. So we never risk that much in the grand scheme of things. And then, yeah, Joris and then Roger asked you, there is a handy options pro add-on that does all the heavy lifting. VectorVest 7 has a basic options calculator in it, but nothing to the extent of what you need. Your broker would have a lot of more information for you. We do have an add-on called Options Pro that you can subscribe to. A lot of brokers have the information that you would need, like your Thinkorswim or your Fidelity, your E-Trade. They would have all those information as well that you could use. And then what if you can only do covered calls or puts? Covered calls are great. It's not something that I use for income, but it is an income-based trade. It's just something a little bit different. All right, just double checking here and making sure everything's good. All right, well, I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and we'll wrap it up today. I want to thank all of you for spending this 51 minutes. Make sure you give us a like on Facebook. Give us the thumbs up. Something nice and positive if you can. I appreciate that. But we're going to be doing some live spreads here or live events here in the next few weeks as we get ready for our May launch of the options paycheck. By all means, please join us. Look out for some emails. Go to that site to download that FB1, FB1 and get yourself in there. Go to vectorvest.com/OP register, by the way. That's what we're putting up in that link right there. What we are doing, and I'll just show you before we leave. If you go to that website, vectorvest.com/OP register, do it. We're going to be doing some free online workshops. Click on reserve my seat, and you'll see some times that you can do this. April 19th, April 20th, some different times. Get yourself registered and get yourself in there. Let's learn how to make 2023 a good income year. I'm already up so far this year about 15% in the first spacings of 2023. So get yourself to these webinars, get yourself to that level. I'll teach you how to do it. All right. Thank you all for spending the last hour or so with me. I appreciate it. And with that, I will see you all again, hopefully next week's. Oh, one last comment there. Jace, can you trade these option spreads in a TFSA account? No, you cannot. You'd have to have a regular trading account for that. So I wanted to hit that one real quick. All right. With that, I'll see you guys hopefully next week in some of our classes, and have a great rest of your day, everybody. Thanks again for joining us.